is going to come off as a bit of a ramble, but stick around for the full thing because we got to talk about American society and where it's going and where it's actually fallen from. So even though it might sound like a little bit of a ramble, make sure you guys stick around because for the most part, this is stuff that quite frankly we are seeing on a, let's just say that we are seeing it in front of our face all the time. By the way, I just got through finishing up a video about Philadelphia and how it is that a store owner has finally decided to take matters into his own hands and hire an actual private security firm to assist with the rampant crime. That video will be coming out probably right before this video here. But this right here to me, I think, is a very interesting conversation. Of course, you can watch it on Russia Times. Of course, if you have the ability to get to Russia Times, I do not have it. I do not watch Russia Times. I will leave what I can in the description box of this video here. And by the way, this is not an endorsement of Viktor Bout or Russia or anything like that. I'm just simply pointing out exactly what Viktor Bout has said in this conversation with Maria Butina, which, by the way, will require more than likely an actual project at a later date because there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to her and her case when she was here in the United States. Of course, there's also the Overstock CEO, Patrick Byrne, who claimed that he was in a relationship with her at one time. Don't worry. We'll probably dive into that at a later date to see exactly what was true, what was right, and what was wrong about her situation. Now, guys, I have said in the past few videos that I felt that this trade that we did, where we traded Viktor Bout for Brittany Griner, was a mistake. If anything, we should have traded for Paul Whelan. And even in that case there, I was not okay with giving up Viktor Bout. I thought it was a very, very bad move. I mean, the guy is called the Merchant of Death for a reason. He's also the inspiration for Yuri Orlov in the film Lord of War. I highly advise you guys go watch it because, of course, it was based on actual events. And it will lead you to the information to actually dive into it and see exactly how bad the situation was. With that right there being said, at the end of the day, I'm still not okay with trading to bring back a flag kneeler who, quite frankly, basically played stupid games and won stupid prizes, even though the charge, or at least the punishment for the charge, may have been a little bit excessive. But at the same time, though, this is the same person who's going to come back to the United States and probably going to complain about the U.S. and going to continue to push the social justice warrior message. We will probably talk about that a little bit later on in the video. Now, guys, I want you guys to watch this very, very small excerpt. And by the way, we're not talking about Russia's government. We're not talking about Ukraine. We're not talking about the U.S. government for the most part. We're talking about the actual people. And if the people really and truly feel a type of animus towards one another, let's go ahead and roll this.
Do you hate America?
No. You know, in fact, knowing many inmates, I figure out we're sharing way more common. Maybe America is very much similar. Look, it's the same size. They have it's the same kind of this. And when you talk to them, there is nothing there even to beef about. We are naturally, born not to be enemies. And whenever there's conflict, it's elites. Every, American I met in a prison who is from rural area was very easy to deal with. He has no problem with Russia. And he was curious about Russia, despite all propaganda. They're losing their Christian values. They're losing their families. They're losing literally their countries. It's not anymore the same country. We knew America, who used to be a model for entire world and lead, be an example, like they say, a shiny town on the, sparkling town on a hill. And this is, of course, pity. It was a strong country who was really a, industrial might, this one. And look, for 30, 40 years, deindustrialization, drug problem, crime waves. You can understand, and I feel more empathy to American after this experience than I would feel any hate.
First and foremost, the impression that I got from Bo was that he has been in a U.S. prison. And he has been in a U.S. prison mostly with people who were locked up that come from probably rural, small-town areas, guys who obviously made massive mistakes. Now, guys, in no way, shape, or form do I feel any empathy for criminals. My opinion on criminals is this right here. You were obviously locked up for a reason. We don't want the rapid crime. You guys have heard my personal thoughts on topics like pedophilia. I don't think that cold-blooded murderers should be allowed anywhere near society. I don't believe that drug dealers should either. I believe that we need to have a much, much more iron-fisted approach when it comes to crime itself. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way so that way you guys know that I'm not simping for criminals or anything like that. I definitely don't like Viktor Bout either. Look at the amount of destruction he has caused. And also something else too, Bout is more than likely going to be used in the effort against Ukraine, of which, by the way, we are sending taxpayer dollars to Ukraine to help protect them, a non-NATO ally, by the way. I've not been in favor of anything that we were doing, at least on a large level, outside of sending small amounts of equipment to help them get by. And what I mean by equipment is probably more along the lines of like munitions, something like MREs, things that, quite frankly, that they would more than likely need, things that don't cost a whole lot of money or cost much money to the taxpayer, but we're sending all types of military hardware over there. And of course, we're being screwed because the Biden administration chose to send this guy back over to Putin to use against us. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. And of course, like I said, this is kind of a counterproductive move. And of course, the subject of this video, the NPCs, the support the current thing crowd, they are the ones who are cheering this on, not realizing that they themselves just shot themselves in the foot. And of course, they proved to everybody in the world what we've always known, that these people were in fact NPCs and that they were bots and they really and truly were brainless. Now, guys, Bo is not lying, though. America has lost its values. America has declined in values. America has had this issue with a lack of Christianity. Now, of course, here comes the anti-Christianity crowd to say, "Oh my God, here comes the Jesus freak." No. I normally try to leave my way of life out of this, and I probably should not do that. I should probably use my way of life more often. I should probably use my Christianity more often when discussing these topics. The problem is that I myself don't live a fully clean Christian life. I still drink from time to time. Obviously, you guys know that I still smoke. And of course, I still go out to the bar and, well, I'll just kind of let you guys fill in the blank. The thing is this right here. American values as a whole have declined. American values is quite frankly something that we wanted to spread throughout the world. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the type of values that quite frankly every country needs to have. Those good values, those good patriotic values, the family, that type of stuff there. And of course we have fallen off the we've fallen off the cliff when it comes to this. Now the values that we are spreading are some of the worst values that you can think of. We're spreading a message of rampant homosexuality, which, by the way, I have to kind of tone down the language or else YouTube will find a way to strike this video in wokeness. Now, somebody's going to say, you sound like a bigoted SOB. Okay, look, if I got such a problem with the LGBTQ community, explain to me why it is that I still get along very, very well with the cousins that I have, two of which, who, by the way, are gay, who, by the way, watch this content from time to time. Explain to me why it is I have a good relationship with them. You see, my issue is this right here. As long as you are not spreading these values to the rest of the world, corrupting their nations or trying to corrupt their actual way of life or actually trying to corrupt the children here. Of course, we saw this in the Project Veritas piece on James Bruno, of course, with kids being given certain items to mess around with. Don't worry, I think I'll link that video in the description box of this video here. As long as you're not doing that, I really and truly don't care what you do. I'm not in favor of gay marriage. However, at the same time, though, I think that gay marriage is something that should be regulated on the state level. Right now, they're trying to codify it, and I have no idea why they're doing it, especially when the Supreme Court has already ruled on this matter. By the way, there's a lot of people out there who think that even if they do codify it, it can still get overturned by the Supreme Court at a later date. We don't know about that. We'll talk about that when that comes up. Fact of the matter is that the values that America is spreading right now is not the values that, quite frankly, need to be spread. And as far as the Russian people are concerned, and I know I'm kind of switching gears a little bit, I don't have an issue with the Russian people at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think the Russian people are naturally enemies of America. As a matter of fact, I think that the Russian people don't like the idea of what's going on in Ukraine. Of course, some of them do not. And some of them, of course, are being very, very patriotic. We were somewhat the same way here, and I do not approve of what Vladimir Putin is doing in Ukraine. However, I do not approve of what the Ukrainian government has been doing, and I do not approve of our relationship with the Ukrainian government, which quite frankly has helped, let's just say that it has intensified the corruption in this country here. I do not like what we're doing with Ukraine. I do not like what Ukraine is doing with Russia. Basically what it is that you basically got a bunch of king turds trying to be king turd on top of shit mountain. That right there is what the hell is going on here. I have to use that reference all the time because that right there is what the hell it really and truly is. Fact of the matter is that the Russian people, they are not at fault for what's going on over there, the same exact way that a lot of the American people are not at fault for what the hell is going on over here. The vast majority of the wokeness, the vast majority of the craziness that is being pushed, of course, is coming from our actual cities. Once it got to rural small-town America, small-town Americans got pissed off. This right here, of course, occurred in Northern Virginia, and a lot of Americans have voted to change their school systems and their school boards because of the rampant wokeness, which, by the way, I think we have a long way to go when it comes to ending this wokeness. But of course, they're throwing it in our face every day. Of course, they're using it when it comes to, let's just say that it's become a very, very large part of our consumer capitalism. They keep throwing this wokeness out here, and people are playing along, and people are buying into it. Many people believe that America is about to enter a period of parallel economies, and people think that America is not only going to enter a period of parallel economies, but parallel lifestyles. I personally agree that there's somewhat of a balkanization going on. However, I don't think that balkanization is fully over with. I think there's a lot more to go, and I think at some point in time, the vast majority of this wokeness is going to be centralized to the cities. But the cities do have a lot of influence because a lot of your network television, a lot of the things that, quite frankly, you see, Hollywood films and movies, and don't worry, we're going to be doing more of that in the future because this video has also got a bit of an updates connotation to it. We're going to be covering a lot of that because it does affect our society. What happens on television, people watch too much of it. Some people get ideas, and some people actually subscribe to that because they view that entire ordeal as God itself, when in reality what they should be doing is looking at their actual Bible. Yes, I know that somebody, of course, like I said before, is going to come in here and say, here comes another Jesus freak to talk about God. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about American values being gone. And of course, when a Russian arms dealer can come over here, go on Russia Times, pretend to be a good guy or whatnot, and talk about this, you still have to take note. He's telling the truth. You may not like the person, but the words that he is saying are in fact the truth. America is no longer the shining city on the hill. Anything, what is going on in America is that we are alienating ourselves from the world. A lot of countries do not like this stuff. Now, guys, I had a video ready to go yesterday, just to give you an example of what I mean. Do you guys remember that video I put up a while back about USA men's soccer and how they decided they wanted to virtue signal by wearing a pride flag? And then they had a guy, a journalist named Grant Wall, show up to the stadium with a pride flag on, and the people in Qatar didn't like it. This is kind of sort of what I mean. You see, liberal America is not exactly what we call full of mind. They're not exactly a group of people who have brains. You see, they believe that they can preach this lifestyle to anybody and everybody in the world, and they believe that the world will accept it. Nah, that's not the case. You see, the same people who used to accuse conservatives of myself of spreading death and destruction all over the world. By the way, I do not regret my deployments to Iraq or regret my time in the military, not one damn bit. The same people who accuse us of that right there are the same people who are spreading the values that makes America look bad. Now, I normally could care less what the Middle East thinks. I could normally care less what those who live in the Middle East think about America. But here's the deal, though. When those lifestyles are so rampant and it's affecting your culture, when you see another culture who does not like this start to point it out, next thing you know, you kind of got to empathize with what they're saying. They're right. They're telling the truth. You are becoming the thing that, quite frankly, we always said you were. You see, for many years, I felt that we were not the great Satan, that we were the actual light of the world. They've been saying for a while that we were the great Satan, and the left-wing sections of America that go along with Hollywood and the media are proving these people to be correct. There are certain standards, certain ways that people need to act around the world, meaning certain nations, especially when you're actually in the lead element. If you're beginning to act crazy, nobody's going to take you serious, and nobody's going to think of you as the lead element going forward. And when Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping suddenly become the orators of the world of everything right, that right there is a serious problem. That right there is basically what I'm trying to convey to you. The values that America is throwing out there right now are not the values that need to be spread. We need to be spreading an actual message of, we need to be spreading the values that actually made this country great, not this rampant wokeness. Now, guys, speaking of that situation in Saudi and Qatar, with that guy, Grant Wall, I want to wait at least a day or two before I decide to do that video. You see, guys, I had a video out on that yesterday. You see, Grant Wall died. That same journalist who was told to leave, he died. His brother, of course, who is gay, thinks that there was foul play was going on in that actual area, and that there's a reason why he died. I could give you the details of that story, but I think a lot of people have already covered it, and the information's already out. What I'm waiting for is the information on the second journalist who died to come out, so that way we can make an actual comparison and contrast exactly what's going on. And I think we need to get some actual proof before we decide to start pointing fingers at anyone. Now, guys, this is where I'm going to end the video at, and I do want to get you guys' thoughts below. I want you guys to tell me exactly what you guys think about the situation, think about what Bo said, think about the actual values of America itself. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. And of course, as always, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and share, which of course you'll probably hear me say again. But I do want to say this. As we are discussing more societal topics come 2023, we're going to be using a lot more stuff like film and movie to kind of help convey the backdrop of what's going on, what it actually looks like, things like that right there. So look for the channel to have probably less overall videos, less overall uploads, but of course look for the content to be much, much longer. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to go ahead and upload every day at least 1 to 2 videos every day, even through the weekend, all the way up to Christmas Eve. Of which, by the way, to all you guys, Merry Christmas. Okay, I'm a very, very big-time Christmas guy, and there's probably going to be a nice video on that right there itself. Of course, the meaning behind Christmas and why it is that the wokes are trying to take it, which, by the way, is very weird. The wokes have not been as bad this year, but I'm pretty sure, though, the closer we get to the actual Christmas day itself, I'm pretty sure they're going to start clapping here soon, so make sure you guys stick around for that. We're going to try to do that. As far as like a break is concerned, I'm not sure yet. I may try to post every day after Christmas, meaning the day after Christmas, of course, actually post, or I may take a day off. I'm not sure yet. Either way, that right there being said, guys, make sure you guys give me your thoughts in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys think about this right here, this whole thing situation with Bout and everything that's going on in America. I want to get you guys' thoughts. As always, make sure you guys hit that like button for the algorithm. Also, to go on top of that, make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed. Only about 30% of you guys who watch the content are subscribed. Make sure you guys hit the notifications bell so that way you guys are notified when the videos come out. And, of course, pass these videos around and share them. And I will see you guys.